Sergeant Kevin Konpacki. Any questions, just please call me Kevin, Sergeant's title only. What we're going to do tonight is I wanted to present you guys with some data, and I first do appreciate the fact that you folks are out here. I am a citizen of the community. I'm in charge of the traffic safety program, but I also take it very seriously. It's something I'm very passionate about because it is very important. I'll just give you a personal story. I live on St. Albert. Someone mentioned St. Albert here earlier. I live over by St. Albert Church. And remember when St. Albert connected with C, that was our concern. Now you have a lot of people that are going to use that as a border, and they do. And so, something that is near and dear to my heart too. Tonight what I'd like to do is start off by providing some data on 19, talk about some things that we've done in the past couple of years. Basically, what I'm going to focus tonight on is the stretch of 19 from basically 151 to the city limits west. So provide some data with that, and then as the chief mentioned, I'll give you a quick overview of our traffic safety program. I'd like to use this opportunity to just kind of get the word out of what we do as a police department to help look at some of the traffic issues in our city. All right, first of all, talk about some of the data. What we did is we put together from January 2010 to June 19th is the latest on this data. And again, as I mentioned, basically 19 Windsor from Broadway. I did pull some stuff in from 151 west to our city limits. During that time span, on 19, we did 309 traffic stops. Now, as you see in parentheses, I have the no turn on red at 19 in North Thompson and the speed ramp. Mr. Hegel mentioned the majority of those traffic stops were focused on those two initiatives. As Mr. Hegel said before, we did have a concern with kids crossing the intersection at 19 and Thompson from the two schools that we have there. And it got to a point where, and the chief mentioned, the 3 E's, we got together with our public works department, and you see the don't turn on red from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. signs. Fortunately, when we put those signs up, we're still having a lot of problems. A lot of it was just lack of awareness. So we did kind of a educational / enforcement campaign, and we were out there and forced to basically educate folks on, hey, and again, I would say 90% of the traffic stops we made, people just weren't aware that that sign had that. So that's where the majority of those traffic stops come from that time period. And then also we had a speed grant. We got a grant last year to do some speed enforcement throughout the year. And one of the areas we did focus on again was Highway 19. The big one that we really had some problems with was 19 and C. Highway C was terrible as far as speeding was going, and that's where we devote a lot of our resources. And then someone had mentioned about going from 45 to 35. Where we were seeing a lot of problems with speeding wasn't necessarily on 19 by Westmount or Heatherstone, but more as you approach Thompson and the Walmart. And part of that theory is they're 45 and they continue to drive 45 or a little bit higher once they cross east of Highway C when it goes down to 35 miles per hour. Of those traffic stops, 103 of those were speed related, issued 57 citations, 46 warnings. During that time period, we investigated 32 traffic accidents. 2 of those were speed related. Majority of the accident violations were for failure to yield right away and auto following too closely. The DOT folks had mentioned about the reportable accident at Westmount. I want to second that data. Right now, we've investigated 1 accident at the intersection of Westmount and 19 this year, and we had 1 last year. Majority of what we're seeing, our accidents are C and 19. That is probably the biggest intersection right now in the city where we're having problems, and that's where we're directing our officers to kind of pay attention to. Main O'Keefe is a bad one. There's probably 8 to 10 other intersections in the city where we're having issues. And again, majority of those were failure to yield right away and auto following too closely. Now, you folks may have seen the speed board out on 19. We wanted to do that in preparation for this meeting and provide you with some data. Again, this is just a snapshot of a 4-day period. It's actually a 3.5-day period. June 15th, we set up the speed board. We deployed it at 12:30 p.m. and then we stopped recording the data on the 19th at 6:15 a.m. Indulge me for a couple minutes to kind of explain how we do that with the speed board. When we set it up, you'll notice, you may have noticed last week, that the speed board was up and didn't look like it was operating. The overhead board wasn't lit, wasn't showing your mileage. But in fact, we were operating. At that point in time, we've got a radar unit in there that records traffic from both directions. And the point of that is to have that out there, and people think, well, they haven't set it up yet. And we're trying to capture as much of the accurate speed of what drivers will do as possible. So it's a little Chinese secret here. I'm gonna but you know what? I feel comfortable saying to you folks, because you guys obviously wouldn't care. I mean, you wouldn't be here if you didn't care about this. And so I feel comfortable going or indulging in one of our little tactics. So anyhow, that's how we record the speed. After that, after we're downloading the data, we analyze it, then we light up the board, and that way people can see exactly what they're doing. Is kind of an educational aspect there. So, having said that, the total number of vehicles recorded during that time period was 13,651. That breaks down to roughly 3,500 vehicles a day during that time period. The average speed was 47.8 miles per hour. The 85th percentile was 52 miles per hour, so that basically means 85% of the vehicles were 52 miles an hour or less. 50th percentile was 48 miles per hour. Our maximum speed, we had one vehicle doing 76 miles per hour at 8:45 p.m. I did check our CAD to see if there was any of our officers was involved in that. But that's not to say that it could have been a county deputy. I mean, to be honest with you, there's times I'll look at a speed survey, and you've got this general average speed, and you have one that just spikes way out here, and it's like at 3 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of times that is county, because they've got a huge area they've got to respond to. And if they've got an emergency call to go to, they'll get up on the speed. So a lot of times you see that, and you know there's something unique with that. 23% of the vehicles that were captured were going over 51 miles an hour, and 3% of the vehicles that we captured were going over 55 miles per hour. What I'm hearing, the theme here earlier was the volume. There is volume on 19, and that kind of. Our vehicle traffic volume, high 40s, low 50s. That's the number of vehicles captured in a 15-minute period. From basically 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.